In the Wrong by Remington Pratt. World War IV is raging. It's every country for itself. NATO has dissolved, and Russia and China were blown to bits. The most powerful countries are America and Japan, having the biggest bombs and the biggest armies. I'm an American soldier named James. I'm fighting at the Battle of Mount Fuji. The snow is red and filled with bodies. The rivers run red with blood. If I had one word to describe it, it would be hell. Each side only cares for themselves. Children are stolen from their homes. Teens were grabbed in the streets. All for what? A war. Before I left for here, the country was on lockdown. No one was to be out of their houses after 7. Criminals were taken out of jail just to be trained for the war. They had their own covert team named Deathbird. They were to be used in suicide missions. The news kept up well on what was going on. They did the best they could not being able to get cameras without them being shot up. The news is very strict on what's to be said, and there is no outside news. It is all just one. The battle was dying out. There were few people left. Then Japan raised the white flag, and before we knew it, set up camp and celebrated. All night was a party. We drank, sang, and enjoyed ourselves the whole night. Then, in the midst of the night, it happened. It was silent. Then they struck. One by one we were taken, loaded up into a plane, and took off. There were maybe 700 American soldiers that survived that battle, and they were all gone. We were all dropped off at some place in the middle of the ocean. There weren't more than 1,500 people there. One by one we were loaded into all different planes going to different places. When I arrived at the camp, it was cold. I could see my breath. As I walked up the camp, there was a body hanging on the gate. It would shake in the wind. You could see the horror in the dead, cold eyes. On the gate, "Not even God can help you in hell," was carved. For 3 years I was stuck there. There was little food, and we were beat for everything. If you dared to escape, you would be caught, frozen to death, or die from starvation. Then I climbed to the top of the cliff and jumped. Most people would have been scared of the fall, but I embraced it, and then splat. I fell into thick, deep snow. Surprisingly, I was alive. In pain, I walked to a near village and fainted. I woke in a warm bed with hot tea next to me. Some old lady came in and said, "Are you okay, dear?" she asked. "I found you knocked out on the ground." I replied, "Thank you, but I can't be seen with the enemy." "Enemy?" she responded. "You have no enemies here." "But what about the war?" I asked. "What war?" "You know, World War IV. "Honey, that war ended a long time ago. We finally have world peace." "That's impossible. We just fought in a battle earlier." "Yes, but it is just America. They have become corrupt. What was once the most beautiful nation is now power-hungry." I stood there in shock as I processed what was going on. I realized that I was free of war. All the death was behind me.